Hey guys, so when they announced the NEOGEO Pocket Color Selection Volume 2, I was really excited. So when they offered to send it to me, I jumped on that really quick because I was really wanting to play this anyways. So we're going to take a look at all 10 of the games here and do kind of like a brief overview of them all. I'll go in depth with them a little bit. So I've played both the Switch and the Steam version. There's no difference between them like there was in Volume 1. Some of these games did come out as a single unit already. UNITRON was one, Mega Man, Card Fighters Clash, oh, and Big Bang. You can get them by themselves, but they added them into the bundle in here. So we're gonna start from the left and go to the right and kind of just work our way down left to the right all the way down to Card Fighters Clash. So we'll start with Baseball Stars. This is just a fairly standard baseball game. If you like baseball, you'll probably like it. It plays well. The pitching works well. You can hold left or right the pitch, you know, left or right. Same with moving your character back and forth and hitting the ball. It's simple, you know. I do like the team names. Hyper Pirates was my favorite because what the heck is a what's a Hyper Pirate? But it sounds cool, whatever it is. But baseball is just not really my thing. Last baseball game I played was probably Backyard Baseball, or I think I had one for Game Gear. But this is just not for me. Although I think it's just fine. Next one is Big Bang Pro Wrestling. So it's pretty cool to have a wrestling game on the NEOGEO Pocket. So I actually have this by itself. I think it's pretty good. Eagle here reminds me of Tizok. I think that's how you say his name, from Garo Mark of the Wolves, but I don't think it's the same character. It can be a little frustrating to get used to some of the controls, but the animation's really smooth. I found it really difficult to hit people sometimes. Like, look at this. I'm just trying to hit this dude, and it's pretty hard. I like Sho the most because he's got some like pretty good just like attack moves. I was wanting more of like an arcade wrestling game, more than like grapple heavy, but it's simple. The mechanics work well. There's different modes. There's regular matches where you're pinning them. There is like a coffin match, and then I think they call it reward, but that's basically like a ladder match where you're trying to climb up there and get the thing at the top. I ended up just beating the crap out of the guy, but they do have like a story mode too, and every character has an intro, and they come down the stage and everything with their own theme music, so that's actually pretty cool. Overall, if you like wrestling games, I think this is a really cool one to check out. If you don't, it's probably just going to be okay to you. Okay, so this next one is BIOMOTOR UNITRON. So this is an RPG. The big draw to this is being able to customize your Unitron. So basically you're going to upgrade like the parts, the core, the legs. The main one is the arms. So kind of like the main flow of the game is there's the town area with the shop, arena, you can talk to people, sometimes they'll give you items. But you're going to go to one of these 4 places, and they each have a type, like water or wind or fire, what have you. And you're going to go to those places to kind of level up, get currency. You're going to make arms with crafting items like steel and whatever else, plus whatever arms you buy from the shop. Upgrade your arms, go to the arena where you fight kind of in like a gauntlet, like 4 or so, maybe more as you get higher level, but I was like at C or B. You're gonna fight a bunch of other people's Unicrons to get higher rank. Then you'll be able to like go to the shop and get better materials and find better things to go deeper into the 4 areas on the mini-map to just slowly climb the ranks that way. So that's kind of like the game gameplay flow there. You're trying to upgrade your arms, basically. There are, I think it's like wind, water, fire, earth, and then there's light and dark. So light and dark don't just counter each other. So light is weak against nothing and strong against nothing, and dark is strong against everything and weak against everything. So I eventually wanted to get like a light and dark arms, but overall I think the game is cool. I like customizing mechs in pretty much anything I can, and you can actually turn out looking pretty cool. I like my dragon arm, but overall it's simple. You're not like traveling along a mini map. It's more, or like the town, you're just kind of going through menus. You can talk to this person in the forest, and they can possibly have the material that you're looking for. So that's one tip that I found out, if the shop doesn't have it. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. So next is, I'm gonna try to pronounce this, GANBARE NEOGEO POKE-KUN. Okay, so this game is very odd. So I'll show you the manual here. And so what I did is I recorded some footage beforehand, kind of just showing you what this game is, because it's something you more have to see than just have somebody tell you a little bit about it, I feel. So it's basically like a Tamagotchi. And you have this little guy in here, and I looked up a little bit after the fact. So basically, you're unlocking those games by making him happy. So I was initially thinking it was by pushing buttons and making random things happen, but it's by his mood. So that's something to keep in mind. That's how you unlock those games. That's probably why I was stuck. So without further ado, I'll try to just get into some of the gameplay and just show you what the heck is going on with this weird game. Okay, so this game is really weird, so I thought I'd show you it live to kind of better demonstrate it, hopefully. So this part right here is kind of like a Tamagotchi. So he's got this apartment, and you can hit the different directions. Up changes the light, left on the directional pad kind of does something. Normally at the top left you can see that kind of scary face, but I've seen that say like I love you. I've seen it do like Japanese letters up there. If you hit down, normally something happens on the ground. Right now it kind of looks like fleas or flies or some kind of pest down there. If you hit to the right, either a hand or like a foot will come out of the door. Now if you hit A, generally somebody comes and visits. Now I've seen so much crazy stuff. Yeah, like what the heck is that? So much crazy stuff happen when you hit A on the door. Sometimes it's like Sentai characters where he's really excited about it. Sometimes it's this dude yelling at him. Sometimes it's like this little sketch dude, and it seems like he wants you to like draw him a body or something. A lot of times they just go to your bathroom and use that. When I first started, that's all the characters did, was go to your bathroom. Now there's certain characters that I haven't seen in a really long time. I'm not really sure the rhyme or reason to any of this. There's more stuff. So if I like spam the ape, like look at this. See, now he's doing something totally different. So, and there's more characters than this. I don't know. I've probably seen like 10 other characters that they're not showing currently. And I've even done it where like you spam the door and then it like explodes, or somebody blows it off its hinges, then you don't even have a door. So then if you spam, okay, get over this. So if you spam the directional things, stuff will fall on his head a lot. Like, I've seen the rock, I've seen a pan, and if you do it enough, you'll see what it's doing right now. Your apartment will catch on fire. And, then you don't have an apartment anymore. It'll spawn you back to the apartment. So it's very weird. So this guy is actually, this is supposed to be like inside of your NEOGEO, or your NEOGEO Pocket. So he'll go to work sometimes, and you can hit A and check on him what he's doing at work. At first he really liked it. Now whenever he goes, he's just not happy about it. So the other part of this is if you hit B, this little warning will come out. He'll run into the screen, and these will be mini games here. Now you unlock these by doing stuff in like kind of the pet Tamagotchi version of it, from what I'm understanding. So first I didn't have any games, and I was very confused. These first few mini games are very simple. I'll just show you a few of them, but like this is like a type of Pong, but just by yourself, and you lose whenever it hits the ground. And then I think you literally just get a game over. So some of them kind of play with that's like, I think this one is you are trying to avoid the balls. So you're trying to stay as, like I got hit, so I like immediately lost, right? So it's kind of playing with the opposite of Pong. Some are more fun than others. Those were pretty bad examples. This I found kind of fun. So you're trying to break these blocks without hitting the blocks, and get as high a score as you can. I think I've gotten to like 800 something, but I think the best strategy is just basically to stay in the corner and just kind of let it let things happen. It's pretty easy once you kind of strategize more. It's kind of cheesy, but I was trying to figure out, how do I get farther in this game, and how do I get more stuff? So let me just get hit by something. You get a couple hits with this. Come on, kill me. There we go. But later on, there's more technically advanced games. I'll show you some clips here. This is from a video I found. I'll also link it in the description below. But there's like 30 games here, and there's even things like looking like it's poking fun or mimicking Kung Fu or Street Fighter, or here's some other examples here. I'm just gonna put some up on the screen, so that video is also in the description below. But it seems like when you're doing stuff in like the just living portion, you get higher percentages of these. I've been stuck for a while, so I'm not really sure what to do. I was trying to play this game without kind of looking anything up, so I may have to do that later. But you just hit B and you go back, and then you're at the apartment. But you can get different apartments with different like colored walls, different posters, different people visit you. This one's kind of funny. He kind of tries to grab him. So that's kind of the gist. Like, you experiment and see what you can do to get higher percentages of the game. Look, I spam that. Now he's got birds on his head. I've never seen that before. This is pretty crazy. Falls into a hole and you die. Okay. Next here. And actually, you can turn off the music by just hitting X. So, in the next one is the King of Fighters Battle de Paradise. So, this is a Mario Party, King of Fighters Mario Party game for the NEOGEO Pocket. I had no idea this existed, probably because it's only in Japan. So, but we actually get to play it here. The huge downside, and the same thing with the GANBARE, Neo, POKE-KUN, whatever, it's only in Japanese. And that in the previous game, it's not that big of a deal, but in the King of Fighters, Battle de Paradise, it's kind of a big deal. So you can get away with playing it, but that is a pretty big hindrance, because basically the gameplay is that you pick a character, and then you pick a fighter that's actually going to be on the board to play your mini games. And it's to whatever many rounds that you set. I think it's 30, 60, 90. And whoever wins by having the most stars at the end, just like Mario Party, wins. Now, you can level up your character. So I picked Shizuru. So you can level her up by getting more stars. I don't know exactly what that does. But you can, there is some progression that way, and you can continue by how many points you had and continue forward that way. So there's also like 4 additional characters that you can unlock. I think like Terry's one of them. I'm not sure how yet, but some of the mini games are pretty fun. Like this one here with Brian, you have to like spin the controller around as fast as you can to go as high as you can. This one with Shermie is pulling like these carrots out of the ground. Like, I'm thinking on the one on the right in the video. Now I am like mashing that button. I'm like, none of this like boop 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 or no. You have to like the mashing that you get from like your elbow almost just like vibrating. That's how I won. So what I'm getting at is the PC in this game is brutal. Here's a game here where you're trying to match the character by their silhouette. Now the computer is the red hand, and he gets it pretty quick. I'm like right behind him sometimes, but I'm sure with some practice, of course, some of these things would be a lot easier. But like at first glance, like holy crap, it's really hard to compete. Here's another one. It kind of reminds me of a mini game that's in the SNK versus Capcom Fight in Millennium, like the fighting game. The Capcom versus SNK versus Capcom fighting game on NEOGEO. There's like a mini game that's kind of like this where you're shooting the Martians, but here you're shooting just like bad soldiers. Now when he makes this sound, that's when he hits a bad guy. Okay, so and here it is. It's just he's shooting them so fast. It's really hard for me to keep up. And like damn son, I couldn't even touch the dude. If you look at the end score, like it wasn't even close. So some of the games are pretty self-explanatory, okay? Where you can kind of, once you've seen it once, you'll kind of know what to do. But sometimes, like this game here, there's like 3 decks of cards, and then there's like characters' faces that show up. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just like picking one of the decks, and sometimes I gain points, sometimes I lose points. I don't really know what's going on. I don't understand it. So the game is going to take some trial and error. But I do think it's a cool game. And if I could read Japanese, I'm sure it would be amazing. I tried to use the Google Translator on the phone. It was really not working well. Every once in a while I'd get a little snippet of information, but there's also cards that you can use, land on card spaces, where you can buy cards with your coins, things like making your opponent skip a turn, or you get an extra roll, things like that. But that's pretty hard to like navigate since I can't read it. I would have to take the time and experiment and then eventually learn everything. Maybe I'll make a video on this because it is kind of fun and funny, and part of it being in Japanese makes the randomness even more funny because I have no idea what's going on sometimes. But it was cool, but although I am disappointed that it's only in Japanese. But there it is. Okay, next one is Mega Man Battle and Fighters. So if you liked those Mega Man arcade games where it's kind of like a boss gauntlet, you'll probably like this. This is pretty fun. It is also in Japanese, but you can navigate this a lot easier. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to be able to pick 1 and 2, and you're going to pick between 4 characters. It's like Mega Man, Proto Man, Bass, and I think his name's Duo. He just like punches with like an extendy arm, which he's a beast. It's really fun to use. So pretty satisfying, plays well. The death animations for the bosses are freaking awesome. I think when you hit a boss with a move that they're weak to, they have like this really cool, satisfying like breaking animation on them. You can really tell it's like very impactful. But it's straightforward. You can hit start and pick whatever weapon you got from the previous bosses. Pretty simple. It pauses it and then you can go back into it. But overall I thought that was really fun and cool, and I didn't know that there was a Mega Man game for Neo Geo Pocket. That's pretty awesome. Okay, up next is Neo Geo Cup 98. Pretty straightforward soccer game. You pick from a bunch of different countries and they all have different stats and everything. The animations are pretty good. Let me get this stupid mouse out of the way, sorry. The animations are pretty good, and the gameplay is pretty solid, simple. I did find when I'm like chasing, the guy has the ball and I'm chasing him downwards, and then all of a sudden it switches to the next closest character of mine and he's below the screen, and now that character's running down. So things like that can be kind of frustrating. But overall it's pretty good. It's kind of zoomed in, but that's alright. Maybe if it was zoomed out more, that'd be a little better. There is a kind of story mode, actually, where you can manage a team, you pick whatever country you want, and you can play the games, gain money, and buy equipment to increase their stats. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. But overall, pretty simple, and I think if you like soccer games, you'll enjoy this one. Next game is Pocket Tennis. This was my favorite out of the sports games because it was getting intense. The controls are really good. A is to just smack the ball normal. You can hold the direction left and right of what kind of angle you want it to go, and then B is to lob it. I liked kind of pushing the nets and getting up in their face, and it's very satisfying that whenever you smack it just right, you get that little trail behind it, and you just smoke them. It's just amazing. The characters are pretty cool. I like the designs. They're very unique, and they hold true to the character when you're actually playing in game. Some NEOGEO Pocket Color games don't do that. Like Xiaoyu here, there's Krillin, there is Blue Mary and Chizuru. That's not actually who they are, but that's just who they remind me of. But overall, I'm not gonna lie, I was really enjoying when I was playing it and getting footage for this. There's this back and forth I had here. They were at 40, I was at 0, bringing it back. Advantages is going back and forth, and I finally pull it off. That was very satisfying. So overall, this is my favorite sports game. They're all very different. There's no really need to compare it that way, but I actually really enjoyed the Pocket Tennis. Next game is Puzzle Link 2. So this is obviously going to be a puzzle game, but kind of what you're doing is you're matching and you're making a line from one shape, let's say heart, to another heart shape that is not connected to kind of make them explode, and hopefully you're making chains from whenever those fall upwards to just kind of daisy chain it and break as much as you can. I believe the point is to kind of survive long enough for these C blocks to show up, and then you match those together. So and that's really all there is to it, at least at the beginning. I didn't go super deep into this and play this for hours and hours. I did enjoy it. Not a puzzle guy, but I did find myself enjoying this. Pretty simple. I feel like the game does a pretty good job of helping you link these things together, and it's not like I'm fighting the game to try to like make this little line go. But overall, it was unique and well made. Maybe there's more depth to it later, but overall, I think it was pretty good. Okay, so Card Fighters Clash. I did a separate video on this. Whenever this came out, I was so freaking excited to play this game. I love this game. So I played this growing up, and it was so nostalgic. It is a simple card game, but you have both Capcom and SNK characters in it. So you pick what deck you want to start out with. I picked the SNK deck, but you can pick both versions in this game, and you can trade between the two versions in this. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, please check that video out for like more in-depth. I'll show you how the game works and everything, because there's a lot to it. It's a card game, but in short, it's totally worth buying that game, if not at least just by itself, if you enjoy card games. But yeah, that's it. So that's all 10 of the games. I do think this is worth it if you love NEOGEO Pocket games, if you like collecting stuff. I know I didn't go over it, but if you didn't know already, you can hit A, you can see all the manuals for all the games, and all the manuals are in English, so that might help you for some of the things, like the King of Fighters Battle to Paradise. It will explain some things to you, but in that game in particular, there's still a lot that's unknown. But all the manuals are there. That's really cool. You can even look at the box. They gave you this like accurate rendering of the box. You could even look at it upside down if you wanted to, for whatever reason. You can open it up, see the game, even open up the little package it came in and spin that around. That's pretty cool. Because I know I like physical things, but this is like the next best option. Not totally necessary, but I appreciate the effort. This was in the first one as well. There are also like rewinding features and everything like that, and save features on all these games. But so overall, I think it's good. I am going to be honest, disappointed that some of these things aren't in English. One thing I was really hoping for is to be able to play the second Card Fighters Clash. That was only in Japan. So we had the first one, and then we got the one for the DS, but the second one only came out in Japan, so I was like so excited when the first one came out on the Switch and Steam that the second one was going to come out. But now I fear that it is not going to be in English if it does come out. So at that point, dude, like, oh, I'm going to play a whole card game in Japanese. I do like having the ability to have these and purchase these, okay, without, like, you know, doing mods or whatever, or, you know, doing emulators. I just like, you know, supporting it, like, in that fashion. But I would have, of course, preferred it to be in English. So I hope they go the extra mile and translate some of these upcoming ones. Overall, I think this is worth it if you enjoy collecting Neo Geo Pocket stuff, or you just like the console, or just want to mess around. If you saw anything here that you thought you'd like, I think the highlights are Card Fighters Clash, Unitron, Mega Man, of course. Those are really probably the highlights for me. Overall, pretty cool. I'm glad I have it. I would have gotten it, but I hope next time they get some feedback on this and try to translate it. I don't know if they're equipped for that, what have you. I'm still happy to have it, but thank you guys so much for watching. You can check out the other videos I did on this. I play SNK stuff all the time, fighting games, what have you. I did a whole SNK month once, and but I play King of Fighters All-Stars. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel. So if any of that is of interest to you and you just feel like helping me out and supporting me, I'd really appreciate it. Give me a subscribe and comment. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and you have a blessed day, y'all.